Yes, then the people. This video is basically what happened to me visiting a hotel. And if you recall, I did a video on a Heathrow hotel where I was held in there behind the fence by my neck, basically held prisoner for about half an hour. They deleted all the footage on my phone and they held me till the police came. And the police quickly, very, very quickly, let me go. And anyway, if you recall, on that video I said to you that the day before, something had happened to me, right? So ironically, my phone was stolen the day before from a hotel. And I went out the next morning to buy a new phone because at the time, the phone was the only thing I was using for YouTube videos and stuff. So I went out and bought a new phone. And that's when I went to the Heathrow hotel thinking, do you know what? I'm not going to be fazed by these hotel owners. And I went to Heathrow and obviously that happened. And I couldn't believe it. Like the next day, the very, very next hotel I went to, this happened, right? And although I got my phone back that day, it was smashed and the footage was deleted, right? Anyway, we're talking about the day before. So I visited the day before this hotel right here. Where are we? Sorry, wrong place. Gloucester. There we go. Right. This hotel here, right? Bay Prince of Wales Hotel. Okay. I parked up in this road here, and there's a reason I'm going to show you guys this. All right, so basically parked here somewhere. I think I parked my car here, right? The hotel's over here. So if we quickly go to the front of the hotel, there's the hotel there, right? Now I didn't walk that way. Now bearing in mind this is actually the middle of nowhere. If you look on the maps, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. Not sure what's going on with the map there. Anyway, basically we walked along here. Wrong way. We walked along here and we went across this field here. I wanted to see what the back of the hotel looked like first to judge whether it was safe to go in or not, right? So we walked across this field, round there, round that corner, and along there was like a little way through the bush, a little passage that had been made, right? And I found my way into a car park full of cars, literally full of cars that were for sale, like a dealership, right? And there was caravans in there and everything. And that was on my video. So I took a video of all that. Basically, came out over here. Now, when I visited, there's a wooden fence here and a wooden gate. But the wooden gate here was open, but here there was a wooden fence. It looked a lot more secure than that. So I basically walked out of here, and obviously my plan was to then go across here to the hotel, right? So I came across here. Where are we? There we go. And it was raining really badly. So I was underneath this roof here, and I'd gone to the door, I'd gone inside to around here. Security had came to me straight away and kicked me out, and I was underneath this roof taking shelter, and security had locked the door. And to be honest with you, they weren't very hostile. They just got in my face a little bit and said to leave, and that was that. And it wasn't a big deal, right? And I'm standing under here, and a Land Rover comes out of here, out of this car park, with an old fella in with like grey hair, with a cap on, like an old man's cap, with an Irish accent, a dog, and he had quite a bit of a arrogant attitude, you know, like an old gangster kind of guy, right? That's been there, done it kind of thing. That kind of guy, right? He drove over here. He parked here. He got out the car, and we had a conversation. And he wasn't talking to me like a manager. He was talking to me almost pretending to be like a random person. Like, oh, who are you? Oh, what are you doing here then, buddy? Just filming, you know. Anyway, he then got out. He walked over, and he stood under here with me. He was stood here, and I was stood opposite him on this wall here, right? And we had a conversation for about 20 minutes, and he was basically saying, "You can't go in there. They're obviously going to kick you out." But he was talking with like a quiet confidence, but he wasn't telling me who he was. And I said to him, "Usually these places call the police," and he was like, "Believe me, they haven't called the police." And I said, "Well, how do you know?" And he said, "Well, because they won't do anything without my go-ahead." So I thought, okay, this guy clearly is in charge or has some kind of leverage with them, right? Anyway, he then told me that the day before I'd been there were protesters. They had protesters come, and the police came, and it was a big drama apparently, right? Now, I had no idea about this. And he was asking me if I'm from the protesting group, and I said, I'm genuinely not, I haven't got a clue. And he said, how is it that it's such a coincidence that the day before this happened, and you're telling me that you don't know anything about it? But I genuinely didn't, right? So we carry on talking, and he rings somebody up. And he's saying, yeah, he's here now. He's doing a YouTube video. And I can hear the person saying something along the lines of, get him to take it down. Take the video down. And this old chap was like, yeah. Don't worry. We'll get it taken down. Meaning the video, presumably, right? And anyway, that was the end of the phone call. And at that point, I did not suspect anything. I didn't get a weird vibe or nothing like that. And the guy kept asking me for my YouTube channel. So I thought, okay, he's obviously asking me because he wants to try and get the video taken down, something like that. You know what these people are like, right? Anyway, all of a sudden, this car turns up. Parks over here somewhere. No, it parks here. Where are we? Here. So I'm over here. The old chap's here. This car pulls up like here, right? Brand new car. Brand new white Mazda, I think it was. Asian guy gets out. Looks a little bit like a security guard, but no badge or no uniform, right? And he's quite confrontational and says, like, what are you doing filming? You can't be filming here. You know, the usual stuff they say, right? But he looked a bit of a loose cannon. And I backed off a little bit. And obviously at the time, I was filming with the phone on the gimbal. I was back in the day of doing, the vulnerable way. No body cam, nothing like that, right? So I back off a little bit. I put the gimbal down on the wall here, and I'm holding the phone in my hand because I'm thinking, if this guy tries to go for me, I'm gonna film it this time. I'm not gonna miss anything, right? And then he walks back off to his car here, and he's on the phone, right? So at that point, I'm not really suspecting anything bad's going to happen because I'm presuming he's the owner. This old chap was talking about the owner, and I think after the phone call, he did actually say that was the owner. Of course, I'm speaking to the owner, right? So I'm thinking, okay, the owner's not going to do anything. He's on the phone to the police, maybe. Cool. And then literally out of nowhere, this car pulls up here. It comes in real quick. It pulls up over here on this side, next to where the old man's car is here. Pulls up here. Can't remember what car it was. And this Asian guy gets out. Quite a big, stocky, quite fat guy. I think he was fat. I don't remember, but he was definitely quite a big guy. Whether he was like overweight or just muscular, I can't remember. But he was bigger than the other guy anyway, put it that way. He literally gets out of the car, fuming, shouting, "Get the fuck off my hotel. What the fuck are you doing on my hotel," right? Comes straight over to me. And before I can even think about it, he's in my face, right? So I back off real quick. And at that point, I'm still filming him. I'm thinking, you know what? This is about to get dangerous, but no matter what happens, I want to get this guy on camera so at least we know who he is and we've got evidence that they've behaved in that way, right? Now, this other Asian guy's here. And there's a scuffle. Basically, I dodge the big guy, but the other Asian guy, grabs me from behind, gets me down to the floor, And I get up and I push him out, and then the big guy grabs the phone off me somehow. I think I must have dropped it, or either way, they're like, get the phone, get the phone, get the phone. So the big guy grabs the phone, goes over to his car, and I try and get to the big guy. And in my head at that exact time, I remember thinking, you're not having my phone, and I'm going to punch this guy, right? I'm going to defend my phone as much as I can to get my phone back. But this other Asian guy won't let me. He's basically swinging for me, pushing me back. And there's a full-on, like, not a fight, but this other Asian guy is trying to get me to the floor to kick my head in. And I'm trying to get away from him, but I'm trying to get to the big guy, right? So anyway, you have to excuse me, I've got a bit of a blocked nose today. Bit of a cold coming. And yeah, then the big guy joins in. So he's obviously put the phone in the car, and there's a scuffle. The two of them are basically shouting, and they're trying to get me to the floor here, in this area here. Right. So what I do, at that point, I'm fearing for my safety. I jump over this wall here, and obviously it's directly into a main road, look. This is like a 50 or a 60 limit road here. These cars are coming along here quick. So I run and jump this wall, and at the time there's cars coming, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't really care what happens. If I can get somebody's attention to what's going on, I can get some help, you know? Somebody can help me get my phone back, somebody will stop, and they can call the police, because at that point I don't have a phone to call the police, right? Anyway, so I'm now running down here a little bit. I go along to here, kind of here-ish. The big guy is shouting to me, delete the footage, and I'm shouting back like, give me the phone back, I'll delete the footage, right? At that point, I didn't care what happened. As long as I got my phone back in my hand, I was going to be happy, right? But this other Asian guy is flipped. He's lost it. This other Asian guy is shouting all these different threats. I'm going to stab you. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I think fucking hell. Like, so I back off a bit more, probably down to about here. Say here, yeah. And I keep shouting at them, give the fucking phone back. It's robbery. Give the phone back, right? And the big guy is shouting something like, delete the footage, delete the footage. So I'm still trying to reason with him, saying, look, bring the phone over here and I'll delete the fucking footage. But this other guy is having none of it. He's coming for me, right? And I'm thinking to myself, there's a main road here. If me and this other guy get into a fight and it goes badly for me, there's another guy there, there's two of them, right? And who knows who else is going to come out of the hotel. So at that point, I give up and I think, do you know what? Obviously the phone's gone, right? My next step is to call the police. But this is the middle of nowhere. There's literally nothing around here at all. Like that road there goes up to the M5, but it's about 5 or 6 miles away. So yeah, it's not a good place to be. So I go to my car. My car's up here, right? And I'm frantically like knocking these doors. Now these gates are closed. I knock this house here. No one answers the door. But obviously they can see a random guy knocking their door. They're probably not going to answer the door anyway, right? So I go in here. And I basically go over to that hut there. I think it's there. No, there was a hut here anyway. These photos must be quite old. And I say, look, I've just had a robbery committed on me, phone's gone, can I ring the police? So even the guy in there was a little bit funny. He didn't really want to let me do it. He said, oh, I ain't got a phone, mate. And I'm thinking, like, you're a business. You're going to have a phone of some kind, right? Customer's in there with his car. Customer says, yeah, look, I've got a phone. You can use it. Ring the police. Let the police know what's happened. End of the phone call. Right, police are on their way. But for me to be able to find this place and ask, it's taken about 5 to 10 minutes, let's say, right? Because I'm panicking a little bit, knocking all these doors. I've ran up a bit further up here to try and see if there's any of these houses who can help me here. But they're all proper, like, private, gated off. That wasn't a house. Up there's another one, but again, it's a massive gate. I did ring the bell, but no one came. So I'm like, fucking hell. Every minute that goes by, I'm not going to get my phone back, right? And at that point, it's quite a big deal to me because I had no money saved. I had no phone, no spare phone, no computer to edit on. Now I have, as you can see, a computer to edit on. I relied purely on my phone before, and all my footage was on the phone. Now, as you can see, I've got memory cards, hard drives. I've got a lot of stuff recently to you know, to make it a lot easier and more efficient to edit videos for you guys. Okay, so police turn up. The police come over to here. We're here, literally here. I'm leant against this lamppost here. Police car's here. They take a statement from me straight away there and then on the roadside. 2 other police vans turn up, but they were quite a while. They're about 20 minutes because the police said literally because of the area where you are, like there's nothing round here. Like there's no police units anywhere near. They've had to come from quite far away. Gloucestershire police dealt with it. Gloucestershire police were excellent. To be honest with you, they're probably the best I've had anybody deal with anything before. They took it very seriously straight away. They didn't ask me why I was filming and I shouldn't be filming, nothing like that. They obviously said, like, what were you doing? And I said, I'm doing a YouTube video on the hotel, and I'm nothing to do with any of the protesters yesterday. But that was it. And because there was an assault, or attempted assault, and the phone was stolen, it's robbery. Basically, robbery is where you have somebody take something off you with force or with violence, rather than it being just theft or just assault. You know, the two combined is robbery, and it's a much more serious charge. Nearly always you're going to go to prison for robbery, always. Whereas assault, probably not. Theft, probably not. But robbery is not good. It's the same charge as if you go into a bank and do an armed robbery. Obviously there's an armed aspect of it and it's far more serious, but it's the same offence. Anyway, police are taking my statement, what happened, and basically there's like a van here, and the police in that van didn't seem very nice. Not towards me, but they just seemed like they wanted to go in there and they wanted to go and nick these guys straight away, right? But they couldn't until my statement was taken. So I took my statement there and then on the side of the road, and basically they said, look, we've got a photo of the guy that owns this hotel. We think we know who it is. Can you describe him? And I'm doing my best to describe this guy. But, you know, in the heat of the moment, the adrenaline's going. Like, you don't remember that much. I just remembered he was a big Asian guy. He had a curly hair, curly beard a little bit. But I don't remember much else from that. And they said, look, we think we know who this guy is. It's the same guy we've got on a photo here. We can't show you the photo because it's obviously going to influence you. But basically, we think we know who we're going in for. We think we know who to look for. Cool. And they said, look, due to them being 2 of them, and they're quite big guys, we're going to wait for another unit to arrive. And then we're going to go in and nick them, right? Literally, like, they're not even going to go in and ask them questions. They're just going to go in and nick them both for robbery. And hopefully get my phone back. They said we can do a Section 18 search on the property, not the whole property with it being a hotel, but we can search their office, their car, their person themselves. And I'm thinking in my head, like, at that point, I don't really care about much else. As long as I get my phone back, don't really care. You know, in the heat of the moment, you don't really care about going to court. You don't care too much, but you know, I wanted my phone back, right? And it turns out now that ain't going to happen. So now it's turned away from the phone to obviously, you know, what happens next, and I'll get to that in a moment. So literally the police are here with me for about 45 minutes. They take the statement and they're talking to me how they're going to do it. There's about 4 coppers here with a riot van. There's another riot van pulled up, and there's a car with 2 people in who are talking to me. There's like 8 police here, right? And they're all planning. I can hear them talking about it, like how they're going to go in there, and they're going to go in there hard, and they're going to try and nick these guys, right? They're going to go in there quick to try and sort of stop anything happening like they do. And obviously that's how the police deal with stuff. Unfortunately, I've been on the receiving end of that a few times in the past, and it was actually nice to see them planning to go in and actually defend me for once, you know. Anyway, so they basically, the police said they're going to wait for another unit to arrive, but then they drove up there, and I walked up here a little bit, and they went straight in and nicked them. So they just tricked me. They didn't want me to watch. They literally went up there, drove in, and they went bam, they went in, right? Now, I was waiting here, down by my car, and I walked up a couple of times here to kind of look through the bush from here so you can see. And they were there like an hour and a half, the police were. I was waiting down here on my own for like an hour and a half, right? Because basically I wanted the police to come back to me and say, we found the phone, and they would have to take photos of it and give it me back. Or we haven't found the phone, and then I'd have to obviously think about getting a new phone, right? I wanted to know. And when I came up to here one time, in this corner of the car park up here, there were two Asian guys in a car. They saw me looking through the bush, and as I went back down to my car down here, the one guy came round this corner looking for me, and he walked in there looking for me. Anyway, you'll see why I'm saying that. Now, I waited that long. Two more riot vans pulled up on blue lights. You could hear them on sirens a mile away, right? Miles away. They went in there quick, and the police ran in like an hour later. And I'm thinking, why would they be coming on blue lights? Like, later, what's happened, right? Okay, so what happened is the police wanted the CCTV footage of the hotel, because the cameras there would have caught everything. There were two cameras on the front facing down. Basically, the hotel staff and the hotel security were being evasive. They were not letting the police into the CCTV room. And because there were quite a lot of them, the police radioed through for backup, like urgent backup, basically, because the security were not letting them in there, and there were too many of them to overpower them, and it could have gone, you know what the police are like, they like to have numbers, so for the police it could have gone wrong, right? So that's what the extra riot vans were for. Anyway, let's get to the point. The two guys got nicked for robbery, the owner and apparently the other guy kind of runs it with him as well. They both kind of run the hotel, right? They got nicked for robbery. They went no comment on the interview, and one of them was awkward in the police station with a solicitor. They didn't have time to interview him, so he's been asked to go back in for a voluntary interview. But even if he doesn't go back in, they will do a charging decision based on basically nothing that he's given an account for. And let's be real, he's not going to give an account, is he? The police said that when they turned up, they weren't there. They turned up in a car a few minutes later. So obviously the police said to me that they thought they'd gone out to dispose of the phone and to dispose of the CCTV hard drive. That's what the police believe they went out for. So the police managed to get into the CCTV room, and basically they wouldn't show them where the hard drive was. So the police seized everything. The police seized all the screens, all the PCs, everything from the CCTV room. So the hotel now had, well, it probably has now, but at the time it would have been wiped of all computer hardware which could possibly have had the footage on, the evidence on, right? The police did an excellent job here of trying to preserve what they could. They even searched different persons in the hotel who they believed may have had the phone on them. And I'm not sure how they legally could have done that, but they got around it, and they managed to conduct searches on different people that were not under arrest, with the belief that the phone may have been on them. So fair play to Gloucestershire Police. They did really try hard to try and preserve that phone and preserve the evidence for the case, right? So anyway, the police down here, finally, about 2 hours later, they come down and say to me, look, we've nicked the two guys. They tell me the story about the backup having to happen and all that lot. They tell me about that. And they leave. And I'm parked here, right? So I think, fine, I'm going to go home. So I drive up here. I go across there. And I pull onto the, obviously, across here onto the dual carriage, onto the main road, right? And as I'm here... this van comes behind me, this like transit van, and it's dark. It's just getting dark. And I look in my mirror, and I just get this feeling that this transit van is like from the hotel coming after me, right? And the van gets quite close to the back of my car. I can see it coming up quick. So I overtake the car in front of me, and the van overtakes it. And I'm thinking, fucking hell, here we go. So we went up there. I overtake another car here. The van overtakes. Now I've got a Golf R. The Golf R is like 500 horsepower. It's a fast car, right? I'm caning it up here. I'm not going crazy because I'm thinking, well, I've got a fast car. I'm overtaking cars and they're in a van. At the end of the day, they're never going to keep up. You know, I can get away in my head, right? We keep going and going. I keep overtaking cars. And they're still behind me. They're still right there. Flashing me. So I put my foot down a bit more. And I get away a little bit. I think, okay, I've got a bit of distance between them now. You know, as soon as we get back on the motorway, obviously going to be game over anyway because, you know, they're never going to keep up on the motorway, right? But we're up here. And let's zoom out a little bit. Where are we? There we go. So we've got to get to this junction here to get back on the M5. I think it's here. Is it there? Or is it a bit further? No, I think it's a bit further. Yeah, here. We need to get to here. Right? That's quite far. From there to there, it's probably about 5 miles, I'd say. 5 or 6 miles. Get to this roundabout up here. That one. And I've slowed down a little bit. Like, I've gone back to my normal driving speed because I thought, well, I've got a massive gap. You know, they're right there. They're right behind me. So, like, in this road here, I put my foot right down, overtook a few cars, got to this island. They're still there. They're keeping up. Fair, you know, like, more or less they're keeping up with me. So, obviously, I get on the motorway. And the motorway is not busy, but there's enough cars on it, right? And I'm thinking to myself, like, that transit van's going to be able to do 100 miles an hour. And people in the fast lane don't do 100 miles an hour. So I have to go in the hard shoulder, just to get enough gap between me and them so that I can go away on my own way, right? And I got up as far as Tewkesbury. I got to Tewkesbury, and that's where I'd lost them, up Tewkesbury. It was a very scary experience because I didn't have a phone on me. So I couldn't call the police and let them know what's happened. Like, I'm being chased, I'm having a car chase. I'm literally having a car chase. They could have called more people to come with fast cars and then I wouldn't have lost them, right? And that's going through my head. All they've got to do is make a phone call and the right person's got to be in the right place at the right time, and it could have gone horribly wrong. The other thing is my petrol gauge in my car wasn't working. It hasn't been working for a while. It's now fixed, but at the time, it wasn't working. And I'd put in enough fuel to get there, but I knew that probably on the way home, I'd probably have to put a bit more fuel in, maybe. And I'd driven quite fast to get there. So in my head, I thought, the fuel's going to be quite low. It's not going to be empty yet, but it's going to be quite low. And I'm there, obviously, caning my car on the way home, trying to get away from these fucking idiots. And I'm thinking in my head, like, if my car runs out of fuel and they're behind me, like, this is going to go really badly wrong, because for them to go to that length to chase somebody in a van like that, if they get hold of me, like, they're not just going to punch me. They're either going to kidnap me until the charges are dropped, or they're going to try and do something really bad, right? So yeah, it was pretty scary. I had to, in the end, I had to drive to somewhere local to me. I knocked a random house and I rang 999 off their phone to let the police know, because these guys had my phone. I wasn't sure if they'd gone onto my phone, and I wasn't sure what information they had on me either. So I just wanted to make sure the police were aware of it at the earliest opportunity, because over that night, obviously I went to sleep and I had no phone until the morning. So that night I was very vulnerable. Anything could have happened that night and I wouldn't have been able to do anything about it, right? Anyway, I've since spoke to the police about this. In fact, they've called me many times about it, and they've been really good. They've basically said they're still waiting for the download of the CCTV to happen, and a phone, their phone, which may have caught the evidence of them organising the disposal of my phone when they drove away and came back. But basically, the police have also said that it's raised doubts for them about how this hotel is being ran, because these two guys, clearly, and how the security stopped them going in the CCTV room. That's obviously breaking many laws, many CCTV, GDPR things. I can't say exactly what off the top of my head, but obviously they're meant to give access, right? Especially to the police, and they didn't. They were evasive. And if they're running a hotel with asylum seekers, they should not be behaving like that. So I think the police are raising this with the Home Office. I'm not sure. They just said that it's raising concerns with the numerous different agencies as to how the hotel is being run. And they're not sure if that hotel will be ran like that for much longer. But yeah. End of the story, guys. These two guys are on bail for robbery. And if you guys are watching this video, you are scum how you behaved. You are scum for what you did. And I wasn't even interested in getting you arrested for robbery. I just wanted the phone back. I've had numerous phone calls since then from Asian people on the phone asking me where I am, if I still work at the barber shop, trying to find me basically. So if you are listening to this and you want to give me the phone back, make contact. Clearly you have the phone number, so make contact and we'll talk. But until that happens, I'll happily go to court and over the robbery, because it was disgusting and it shouldn't happen. All I was doing was filming your hotel, and I was nothing to do with the protesters before. So you were idiots for what you did. Anyway, guys, that's the hotel, Bay Prince of Wales Hotel. If anybody's going to go there and audit the hotel, you need to be very, very careful and go in numbers, believe me. Be very, very careful there. Yeah, over and out.